Hi, scholars. It's me, Dr. Christina Williams, and I'm here with another lesson to help grow you as readers and writers. But, like always, I'm going to start with the book. This book is called How Rocket Learned to Read. Now, I want to fill you in. There are a couple places in this book where I'm going to just make sounds, and you remember how we were making sounds in the phonemic awareness class where we were doing something like k, at, and we had to discover what that word says when we snap it back together. So k, at says cat when we make the sounds quickly, right? Pull them right back together. So when I read this book, How Rocket Learned to Read, sometimes you're going to hear me stretch out the sounds, and I need you to snap them back together and tell me what word it is. Now, actually, before we even read the book, I'd love for you to get one of the name tags and have the person who loves you, who's doing these activities with you, have them write their name on one, you write yours on one, and wear them. All right, so I know that you probably are at home, or maybe you're at the park, or I'm not sure, maybe a cute coffee shop. But what I'd like you to do is wear a name tag, put your name carefully on with good handwriting, form your letters the best you can, and then adhere it to your shirt. You'll see why. And again, the person who loves you, you're going to have them put their name on a name tag as well. So after you do that, you're all ready to begin the book, How Rocket Learned to Read. Rocket loved to play. He loved to chase leaves and chew sticks. He loved to listen to the birds sing. Me too, me too. Every fall morning, after chasing leaves, Rocket would lie down in his favorite spot under his favorite tree. There, he'd sniff the neighborhood smells and settle in for a good nap. But one day, a little yellow bird startled Rocket. "Aha! My first student! Wonderful!" she sang. Rocket was confused. "Student? I'm not a..." "But if I am your teacher," the bird interrupted, "then you must be my student." Rocket found it hard to argue with this bird. "I am so glad you saw my sign," the bird chirped. "Oh, yes, I can see it," Rocket said, "but I don't know how to read." "Can't read? Fantastic!" She waved a wing. "Welcome to my classroom." "But I just came here to nap," Rocket said. No, there will be no napping in class," declared the bird, "except, of course, during nap time." "Well, then I can take a nap over here," said Rocket. "I've had a very busy morning." "Not to worry, I'll be around every day," chirped the bird, "until the weather turns." As Rocket breathed in the crisp air, the little yellow bird hung her banner. "Ah, the wondrous, mighty, gorgeous alphabet," she marveled, "where it all begins." Opening up a book, the bird began to read. She sang out the story of an unlucky dog named Buster who'd lost his favorite bone. A cool breeze carried her lively voice across the yard. At first, Rocket was disturbed. What does that mean, disturbed? It kind of annoyed him, got on his nerves. But before long, he found himself captivated. Like he couldn't let go of the story. He was held captive. He was captured by the story. Yeah, he was captivated. To Rocket, the story was as delicious as the earthy smells of fall. It was as exciting as chasing leaves. He closed his eyes and listened to every word. "As Buster dug and dug under the lilac bush," the bird read, "he felt something familiar." Rocket waited. Was it the bone, he wondered? Silence. "Was it the bone?" he called to the bird. More silence. "Was it the bone?" Rocket hollered. Suddenly he was rushing to the tree. Well, was it? But the little yellow bird was gone. The next morning, Rocket arrived early. At last, the little yellow bird appeared. "Hello! How wonderful to see you in class," she chirped. "I can tell by your waggy tail that you are well rested." "I'd like to hear the end of the story, please," said Rocket. "That seems like a fine way to start the day," chirped the bird. She gave Rocket a name tag. "Ah, just like your name tag." And she began to read. Every day, Rocket returned to the little yellow bird's classroom. In the morning, the bird taught him a new letter until he learned all the wondrous, mighty, gorgeous alphabet. Together, they sang out the sounds that each letter makes, and they spelled the sounds they heard around them. With a G, G says G, and many R's, R says R. They spelled Mr. Barker's growl. Grrr. It sounds like a dog growling. They spelled the sound of the wind, which was growing colder by the day. Soon they were spelling words like ah, oh. What's that say? Ah, oh. Fall for the gusty time of year, and red for the color of the leaves. And each afternoon the bird read a story. She read stories about dogs and birds. She read about leaves changing colors and about birds flying south for the winter. Then, one day, the weather turned and the letter banner disappeared. "See you again in the glorious spring," the bird sang. And as she flew into the wintry sky, she called, "Don't forget, words are built one letter at a time." The days grew shorter, and the leaves fell from the trees. The grass became crunchy. Soon, Rocket's classroom disappeared under the snow. He remembered the little yellow bird's alphabet and practiced his letters. A, B, C. Boy, Rocket has to have 2 front paws, 2 back paws to make his letters, and he still could do it. A, B, C. Rocket thought about the bird's sweet chirp while he sounded out words. Now, at Foundations for Literacy, we're not going to say sound out words. We're going to say make the sounds you see. So I'm going to make the sounds here. See if you can figure out what the word is. So he thought about the bird's sweet chirp while he sounded out words. He made the sounds like d, I, g. What would that say? D, I, g. Dig. How about this one? Wind. Wind. How about p, old. Cold. 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 He made new friends and spelled their names. Hello, Emma. Hi there, Fred. Fred. He spelled and sounded everything. Sun. Sun. What is that? Sun. Melt. 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 When Rocket spelled whoops, almost shut the book. Mud. When he spelled mud, he knew that spring, as it always does, had returned. The breeze blew warmer, the grass grew greener, and a sign appeared. Class starts tomorrow. Early the next morning, Rocket rushed to his classroom. As he waited, he spelled wag. 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 Soon the little yellow bird arrived. "Aha! My star student," she sang. "How wonderful to see you. I can tell by your waggy tail that you are ready for class." Then, together, they began to read. They read stories about birds flying north in the spring. They read about picnics in the warm sun, and they read about Buster, the lucky dog who found his bone under the lilac bush. And when they were done, they read it again and again and again. Now, I'm going to flip back to one of the pages in our story, one at the very beginning. This one, it's a 2-page spread, and it has the alphabet banner, and the little yellow bird called it the wondrous, mighty, gorgeous alphabet. And she said it's where it all begins. Now, here's the thing. If you can name and recall the sounds we make when we see these letters, you are ready to be a reader. And so we just want to kind of make sure that you've got all the sounds nailed down. If you know some, you can begin to learn to read. If you know all of them, oh boy, are you ready to get started. This book spells it out. I think that Tad Hills wrote this book just for me. It's exactly what I needed to teach this class. And so now I'm going to set the book aside, and I'm going to share with you all the things that come in your kit so that you can make sure that you know all the letter names, all the letter sounds, and that you can slide those sounds together to begin getting words, which make pictures in our heads. Now, there's an information sheet that's here for the one who loved you, who bought this kit for you. And so there's lots of tidbits in there for moms and dads. I'm going to set that aside. But for you, one of the next things you're going to do is you're going to take these 2 pieces of paper that are bounded together. You're going to stretch them out straight, and they may be a little curly. You'll just have to maybe bend and stretch a little bit, maybe rub them across the table edge to make them straighten out. But what you're going to do is you're going to take those 2 papers and glue them together. I use tape, but you can use glue, whatever works. This is my example of the alphabet banner. Doesn't this look so much like the little yellow bird hung up in the tree? You're going to make one of these, and you're going to hang it up somewhere in your house, maybe in your room, maybe in your kitchen. But together, you and the person who loves you is going to help you, scholar, to make your own alphabet banner. So I showed you those white pieces of wrapped up papers. You're going to glue them together to make one big long paper. And then inside a little baggie, we have cut lots and lots of letters. 1A, 1B, 1C, and you're going to glue them onto the alphabet banner. And you're going to make sure you notice some particular things. Let me show you. Let's fold it up a little bit. I'm going to show you little by little. So I'm going to help by singing the song A, B, C, D, E, F. Now watch. When I get to that letter G, do you see how the G has a tail that hangs down low? When you are making your alphabet banner, we want your G tail to hang low too. So kind of notice that the G looks exactly like an A, but has a tail that hangs low. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. Do you see that tail hanging low? J, K, L, M, N, O, P. See that tail hanging low again? Q looks like a P is looking in the mirror. Look at that. They look almost the same. Sometimes we have a Q with a tail that flips back, but in this font we don't. We'll get lots of practice with that. So we have Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y. There's a tail on that Y, and Z. So this is the alphabet banner, and you have lots of games you can play. It's in the lesson plan that I sent with the person who loves you. And they could play a game like this. Press the letter that says Press the letter that says V. Press the letter that comes at the beginning of the sound kick, and you would do K with the kick and K. So your parents can also say, I'm going to push the letter, you make the sound. P, S, G. So you can play lots and lots of games, and you can even be the teacher, and you can ask your parents, Mom, I'm going to press the letter, you make the sound. D, S, N. That's it. So you're going to make the alphabet banner, make it beautiful, and ready for you to do some extra fun games with. Finish the alphabet banner. Now it's time for some more fun. So I've included with each of your kits 2 movers and 1 die, and you're just gonna pick one for you, one for your mom or dad. But here's the deal. If you don't make the right name, if you don't name the letter correctly and make the correct sound, you don't color it in. That's just the way it is. And so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put our mover on start. And if your mom or dad move on to a letter and you know that letter name and sound, then you can say, wait, I wanna take your turn. And if you do, you get to color it in. So you have a box of crayons in your kit. I didn't bring one with me, but here's how you play the game. You roll the die. Let's say I got a 2. So I'm gonna go 1, 2. And now I have to name that letter and tell the sound that letter represents. I'm gonna hold it up for you to see. So here's what I rolled, that right there. And I say that letter is a Q, and Q makes the sound qu. I can name it, I can produce the sound that it represents, so I can take my crayon and just color in that letter. I know it. If you said that's a P, well, you're close because it's like a P looking in the mirror, but it's not a P. So then your parents or whomever it is who loves you, who bought this kit for you, they're gonna say, no, that's not. I can see why you've confused that, but it's not a P. This is a Q, and the sound for Q is qu. All right. So let's say now it's my mom's turn. She rolls and she gets a 2. Now here's the thing. Once the letter has been colored in, you never land on that again. You just skip over it. So let's say I got that one right. So I would go 1, 2, and whatever one I land on, I put my finger under it and I say, that's a letter B. When I see a B, I make the sound B. If I get it right, that's right. You color it in and that will never be landed on again. So if I roll a 1, I'm not gonna land on that one. It's colored in. I'm gonna roll, I got a 5. And I'm not even gonna count this one because it's colored. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a letter D. The sound for D is D. And B's and D's, let's just say it right off, B's and D's are so tricky because they're just circles with sticks. But if you remember to form your letters correctly in your handwriting, you will never confuse them again. One of the things I do is I say, hold up your number 1s. All right, if you do that, you hold up your number 1s, and then you turn your wrists so they're facing each other. You're gonna have a B on one side and a D on the other. And I sing A, B, C, D. So I can remember the first one I say, A, B, C, D, I can remember which one it is. Also, I can remember that my writing hand is my D hand. If you're a lefty, your writing hand is your B hand. Bat, bounce, ball. My writing hand is my D hand. A, B, C. That one's the D. All right, so you can do that. Hold up your number 1s, put your wrists so they're pointing to each other, make sure your fingers are on your thumbs, and you'll see B and D. B and D. Try it. That will help you to remember. And when we get to that handwriting piece, remember it will seal it tight. Now I'm gonna do the next one. I'm gonna roll. My mom or dad or whomever gets to go 1. This is a C, and I'm gonna hold it up so you can see it. This is the letter C. Now, it is true that C can make the sound S, like in Cincinnati, the city where I'm from. So C can say S, but the main sound for C is K. Almost every time you see a C, we're gonna make the sound K. So some people differentiate the sounds. There are 2 sounds for C. Some people say the C K is the hard sound and the C sounding like S is the soft sound. We're gonna learn about that later on. But for now, when you see a C, the sound is K. When you see a G, and yes, I put this fancy tailed G on there because you're gonna see that in books and I don't want it to throw you. So this is a G, and the sound for G could be J, but the main sound for G is G, like in go. Sometimes it says J, the soft sound, but we're gonna start with learning the hard sound. G says G, like go. All right, so that's how you play the game. Here's the deal. If you don't know the name of the letter and you don't remember the sound, it's okay. We've got time. We've got lots of activities to practice so that you get them nailed down. When you have all of these colored in, you'll know you're ready to be a scholarly reader. So this is going to help us to keep track of the ones you know and the ones you still need to learn. And your parents can help you just to nail those down. You can take bathtub crayons into the tub. You can use sidewalk chalk outside. You can use smelly markers. Whatever it is that makes writing a lot of fun for you, do that. Speaking of writing, I have something for you. Inside your kit, you have a brand new pencil. These are Ticonderoga pencils, the best ones. Don't even bother buying the other kind. And I put something in your kit called a claw. Now this is a claw that fits onto your pencil. So I'm gonna put my pencil tip up, and then the tops, the open parts of the claw go down, and the dome part of the claw goes up. So once I have it situated so the tops of the domes are right about where the paint touches the wood, I'm ready to get a good grip on my pencil. So I'm gonna turn and look at it like this, and the biggest hole is for my thumb. Then the pencil just kind of sits between my thumb and my pointer finger, and I put my pointer finger in and my middle finger in. This is what we call a tripod grasp. And my other fingers just come down, and I'm gonna squeeze on my pencil just like this. Here's the deal, before you even begin writing, I want you to practice moving just your fingers. You can make circles, you can make X's like you're crossing something out, but this claw is gonna help you to have the perfect grip. Now, I've given your family a letter formation guide, and I want you to notice the first letter we're gonna practice isn't an A. We're gonna practice with starting making letter C's. Inside your kit, when you download the handwriting papers, you can use papers with, I've got big fat lines, I've got skinny little lines. Find the one that works best for you. And the first letter you're gonna make is the letter C. So here's the thing, when you master the letter C, look at all these letters that are gonna be easy for you. If you can do these top rows of letters, you're gonna have great handwriting. Sometimes people push back a little bit. They say, why is handwriting so important? You trust me, it is. If you have good handwriting, that will be one of the greatest things to help you on your way to being a scholar. So have good handwriting, take your time, make it right. It's going to be frustrating. If you've been writing your letters incorrectly, it's gonna be hard work, but great things are always worth the hard work. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put our claw onto our pencil, we'll put our pencil onto our fingers, and we're gonna start with the letter C. Now here's the thing, all the letters that start like a C, they start underneath the dotted lines. So we have a top line, a dotted middle line, and then a bottom base line. And so we're gonna start under the dotted line, and we're gonna go up like a rainbow, down to the baseline, and around like we're making a circle. So we did it, I just made a C just there. So I'm gonna keep making C's again and again and again. Remember, I start under the dots, I go up, up, up to make a rainbow, then I go down like I'm going on a roller coaster and stop. Up, 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 around, stop. Now, when you practice handwriting, please make sure someone is watching you. We want you to be watched the whole time so that you're not practicing it incorrectly. That's just making bad habits inevitable. We want to make sure that you're doing it correctly. Someone is coaching you and saying, yes, that's it, keep going. So you're gonna make C after C after C. Now I'm doing mine upside down, of course. I've gotten good at that from tutoring for so many years, but just keep making C after C after C. And when you've got a whole line of C's, you can say, well, this one's not so good, but whoa, that one looks good. Be your own critic. Look at your work. Say, this one wasn't so good. That's okay. I don't have to be perfect, but wow, look at these. And look how I keep getting better and better and better. That's what we want. Little bit of improvement each day, and you are well on your way. All right, so scholars, here's the thing. If you can do a C and you can close it up instead of stopping short, you can make an O. So after you finish making lots and lots of C's, you're gonna make lots and lots of O's. And you have to start under the dots, up, 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 around, and close. Now, here's the thing. If you're good at a C, you can do a really great O. If you can do a really great O, you are ready to make some awesome A's. So you start like a C, up, 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 scrape the dots down to the bottom. Then you close it up like an O, but you go bonk, hit the dots, bonk, hit the baseline. So I make an A, B, C, straight up, touch those dots, straight back down, touch the bottom. And I have just made a perfect second grade A. Now you can be 5 years old and still make a perfect second grade A. The problem with doing circles and sticks is sometimes they don't touch and it starts to look like an O and an I. Just trust me, do it this way. Your parents will love you, your teachers will love you, and when you turn in your work, scholars, you're just gonna feel great about yourself. So follow this progression, C, O, A. Dude, if you can do an A, you can do a D. Watch this. I'm gonna take it off so you can see what I'm doing. A, B, C, straight up, way up, right back down. It's exactly like an A, but it has a taller stick. You will never mix up B's and D's if you learn to do your handwriting correctly. A, B, C, straight up, way up, turn it into a D. Good stuff. All right, that's enough for handwriting right now. I've got something more that's fun and it will help you to master not only your letters, the names and the sounds, but uppercase versus lowercase. So here's the deal. In your kit, you will have a plain white paper. There's also a template that you can use to cut out holes in your white bag. There's also a red piece of paper and your parents will cut out a tongue shape that you'll tape to the inside. Can you see how mine is taped to the back wall of the white bag? See that? And it's taped on the back, but it slides. It looks like a slide sliding out the bottom cutout. Then you also have some glue dots or glue or something to stick eyes onto your letter monster. Now here's how the letter monster works. We've put some flip cards in your kit. So what you do is you put the letter kind of like the letter is the letter monster's nose. Then you flip it up in. Now did you notice that was a letter A? Oh my gosh, look at this. It's a letter A. But watch, it's a lowercase a. Watch again. My lowercase a is the nose. I'm gonna flip in. Look at the A now. It's uppercase. How did it do that? Hold on, let's try another one. What letter is that? It's an uppercase B. Now, if I do this correctly and I put it in just like it's his nose, I tip it in. I might have to give it a little, look at this. Oh my gosh, it's not an uppercase B anymore. It's a lowercase b. Now this next letter is not nearly as satisfying. I'll show you. This is an uppercase C. I'm gonna tilt it in and I'm gonna shake it out. It's a lowercase C. Uppercase, lowercase, they look just the same except one's bigger. Look at this one, uppercase D. Watch this, I'm gonna tilt it in and slide it out. Oops, A, B, C, that one's the D. We've got it, a lowercase D. Now you can play with these letters and flip and learn which the uppercase and the lowercases that are exactly alike. Like this one, they look the same. This one, not the same. So notice, and you should be able to identify your uppercase and your lowercase letters. If you're only gonna concentrate on one, get the lowercase. Those are the ones we see most of all. We only see uppercase letters at the beginnings of sentences and at the beginnings of names of people, places, and things. So things like Dr. Christina Williams, things like Book Bums, one of my favorite coffee shops, and things like Kings Island, a great place to play in Cincinnati in the summer. Now, every now and again, your parents could give you a sheet of paper that looks like this. I've given you two different ones, but you could use this one And your parents can randomly point to letters and ask you, what letter is that? What letter is that? What letter is that? What letter is that? And your job is to say, that's an M, that's a K, that's a T, whatever the letter is that they're pointing to. Then you're gonna play it again and your mom will say, what sound does that letter make? What sound do we make for that letter? What sound do we make for that letter? And the goal, kids, is to get all of them checked off. I know it, I've got it. I've done my letter banner. I have played with my letter monster cards. I have been practicing my handwriting. I played the board game. I have been writing with sidewalk chalk outside when it's time to play. I know all of my letters and the sounds those letters represent. When you can do that, you are ready to be the reading scholar that you are meant to be. One more thing. There are 5 letters, 5 very special letters that we're going to highlight in our next lesson. So if the letters A, E, I, O, and U are a little tricky, and they could be, because watch my mouth when I make the sound for an A. Ah. Watch my mouth when I say the sound for E. Eh. When I make the sound for I say I. For O, I say ah. And for U, I say So they sound pretty distinct like that, but watch this. When I say them all together, ah, eh, ah. There's not really much special happening in my mouth, but don't worry. We'll get to those with our next lesson when we learn all about the vowels. Well, this is Dr. Christina Williams saying goodbye to you, scholars, and I'll see you with our next lesson.